Hello, and welcome to Live All Your Life on the Voluntary Virtues channel. I'm your host, Cody Limbaugh, and you can think of me basically as your biker Mr. Rogers for adult anarchists. Yeah, so you've seen Mr. Rogers, right? So my favorite segment when I was a little kid was when he would go out to businesses and show how things were made in the factories and stuff like that, and I'm like, whoa, that's where egg cartons come from. That's cool. Anyway, I'm going to basically be putting this show into segments that will turn itself long term into a how to achieve personal freedom manual for you. I'm constantly searching for ways to become freer, and that's just in my wiring. I've always been that way since I was a little kid. Always had that independent streak and have never lost it. But what we're going to do is go out onto the streets. We're going to be interviewing business owners and skilled experts to learn various aspects of things that can help you achieve freedom in your life. So let me give you some examples. In the next few weeks, I'm going to be visiting a smithing forge where we will learn the basics of iron forging. We'll be discussing gardening, hunting, that kind of thing. These aren't necessarily skills that you need to implement in your daily life. Maybe you can find freedom without those things. I certainly love the convenience of living in the city. I mean, I like to go to the farmer's market and pick up, locally grown stuff that I didn't have to put the effort into. However, these skills can also create a lot of independence for you, so that you are not dependent on all of these regulated state authorities. You can't have too many skills, and at least have them up your sleeve. Maybe you don't practice them in your daily life, but they're going to be there to have. We're also going to be interviewing business owners to get a feel for their companies, how they started. Not all of them will be anarchists, but we will certainly be focusing on that primarily. I want to give you tools to be able to become more independent as we go through here, because I really believe that it's very, very important for anarchists, voluntarists, libertarians, whatever you want to call yourself, to be actionable in their philosophy. So it's one thing to get all heady and talk about freedom all the time, which is an important discussion. It's a very important discussion for us all to have, and we're all here to try to spread the word of that, of course, and get this rationale out to more people. The more people that we can expose to this critical thinking, the better it is for all of us in creating a free society. But what good is all this heady philosophy if we're not living up to the standards that we're teaching? So I realize we have to live within the confines of the state right now, but I think one of the fastest ways to achieve a free society is to start living as free as possible in our individual lives. So whether that means financial independence or just living off the grid, there's a lot of different ways you can approach that, and we're going to be exploring them all. I personally am a fan of prosperity. I like having a lot of money. So we are definitely going to be looking through the entrepreneurialism aspect of financial freedom, and becoming successful, but we will also be developing life skills. They're oftentimes a lost art. The state has taken away from us a lot of basic skills that were once common knowledge. Let me give you an example. So when the government decided, this was a long time ago in Ireland, by the way, or maybe Scotland. Anyway, there's a debate actually about this, but when people began to distill whiskey, for instance, it wasn't long before the kings decided, hey, I could profit off of this. People want this really bad, so I'm going to go ahead and tax it, and we're going to own it. The state's going to own it. And over the centuries, the last couple hundred years, distilling, okay, let's just start with this. Distilling is not rocket science, okay? anyone can distill liquor. You can do it in your kitchen in an afternoon. You make your own pint of whiskey. Okay, this is not rocket surgery, right? So the problem is that it's been taxed to death. It's been owned by the state, and a very basic cooking skill basically has been stripped from our society for the most part because of the enforcement of these regulations. In most states in the United States, if not all, it is illegal to make your own whiskey or your own rum or whatever in your own kitchen. Now, rum, for example, we're talking about sugar and molasses and water cooked a certain way. Throw some yeast in, and all of a sudden it's illegal. This is ridiculous. Probably reminds some of you of some other hot topics that are often talked about. But the thing about distilling is that it used to be common knowledge, how to do, especially in the South, obviously, in Kentucky and such. I'm going to bring some of these back. I'm going to bring some of these skills to you and let you know how you can achieve a little bit more freedom by having the knowledge to take care of some of these things on your own, bypassing the state, if you will. I kind of look at it as daily living in agorism. So, we want to get our finances outside the realm of government through agorism. Well, this is daily living in that same mode of working around the state. So in future shows, we're actually going to be segmented. It's going to be very short segments, anywhere from 5 to 20 minutes long throughout the hour-long show. So we're going to be conducting interviews both online and in person, quote-unquote in person. I'll go out on the streets and interview people, business owners, use businesses as case studies, and we'll be putting all of these various segments into the hour-long show. So one of the other things that we're going to approach once in a while is daily living hacks. And what I mean by this is just something as simple as maybe getting out of a parking ticket or whatever, but basically small hacks that we come across that we can share for living outside the state, living free. We're going to be discussing a lot of skills that may be outdated a bit, but could come in handy. So there's kind of a blurry line sometimes between practical skills and art. So we're going to be discussing sewing, distilling, leatherwork, smithing, how to make a shelter, hunting, fishing, gardening, and all of these kind of necessary life skills. But we're also going to blur that line and move into the arts. I'll be interviewing various artists and featuring their work, whether they're musicians, painters, actors, whatever. I think it's great to live all your life in every aspect that you can. So we're going to be talking about lifestyle enjoyment, things like cigars, whiskey, traveling, and enjoying life. What good is freedom if you're not going to enjoy it? So we're going to get out there and get active and do a lot of fun things. Another topic that we're going to discuss quite frequently is one that's near and dear to my heart in raising kids to be free, independent people. We unschool or have unschooled or homeschooled 3 kids. Our oldest is 22. Our youngest is 12. It's been a rocky road here and there. Homeschooling was not nearly as popular 10 years ago as it is now, and we've done it from the start. And I'm going to talk a little bit more in future episodes about how that got started and our reasoning and how those reasons changed over the years and how our approach to it changed over the years. But I believe that peaceful parenting and allowing your children to be, human, treated as humans, is a very critical topic for the future of freedom for all of us. So we're going to be discussing unschooling, and rather than having your children get an education, having them learn how to seek out mentorship and to be mentors, and how to master the art of living. we don't need to get a degree to be free and happy. In fact, there's probably a good argument to be made that having a degree might make you less free. We're going to be talking a lot about getting outside the rat race. So, you know, we want to raise our children to be free. One of the best ways we can do that is to be free ourselves. So we got to get out of the rat race. Entrepreneurialism is very, I'm very passionate about it because I look at people discussing things like job markets, job creation. That's my favorite, job creation. Like the government can create anything, but especially jobs. Give me a freaking break. If you don't have a job, then you are a business owner. You just don't know it, okay? You need to find ways to support yourself. I mean, how has it become that we've got this fairly advanced society of people who can't even take care of themselves? Okay, we don't need to create jobs. We need to create people who are independent, people who can take care of themselves. And, you know, I haven't had a job myself for 10 years now. Has it been great? Am I rich? No. It's had its ups and downs, but we've raised 3 kids, and we're still kicking. We're still around, and I haven't had to go beg for a raise or, you know, complain about the taxes taken out of my paycheck, hope that I don't get laid off, ask for vacation time, show up at the same time every day, leave at the same time every day, fight rush hour traffic, live in this damn rat race maze that people put themselves into. I haven't had to deal with any of that crap for the last 10 years. Now, I have put myself into my own uncomfortable situations, but that's life, right? Life is struggle. We struggle, and that's fine. But I would rather struggle on my own terms than kowtow to somebody all the time. So I really think it's important, and you know, maybe I'm preaching to the choir. I'm sure most anarchists, voluntarists, whatever you want to label yourself, or maybe you don't want to label yourself, we all have an independent streak. So maybe there's more of you out there than I think. But unfortunately, I think a lot of us are very passionate about our philosophy, but when we're not on YouTube or we're not on Facebook and we're not having these discussions, unfortunately, many people are stuck in this same 9-to-5 mentality that is just you know, you're just a cog in the machinery, and you're trying to get out, want to get out. Well, this show is going to be great for you because I'm certainly going to give you my experiences, but we're going to pull in a lot of experience from a lot of different people who have achieved freedom in these various ways. Like I said, whether it's financial or just being self-sustaining by living off the grid or whatever. A lot of different approaches to it, but I think it's really important that we walk the walk. So another topic that we're going to be touching on once in a while is that of technology and how that is creating freedom for us. I'm really fascinated by 3D printers and the freedom of exchange of ideas on the internet. We are really living in some interesting times. And I think that we need to continue to stay on the cutting edge of knowing about these technologies, knowing how to utilize them. Upcoming topic on a future show, probably next week or the week after, is going to be focusing on keeping the internet free and open. It already is getting censored in certain areas. We're already having to find workarounds, but the future, fortunately, I believe, is in a very free and open internet. And the cool thing about that, I don't want to get too far into it right now because we are going to cover it in a future show, but you know, the government has to sort of abide by their own rules in a sense. Now, most of you are freaking out that I just said that, but let me explain. they're going to push the boundaries constantly to break their own rules. They're all hypocrites, of course. They're always grabbing more power, more power, more power. So that's why a constitutional republic will never work, because a piece of paper will never restrain greedy, powerful men. However, they have to work within a rough boundary of consent with the people. Let me give you an example. If 30 or 40 years ago we had a complete totalitarian police state to come in and round everybody up into camps, now this has happened on certain segments of the population. Yes, it has. But I'm talking about everybody, widespread. And tried to go, full communism overnight, put us into communes and shared farming and whatever, there would have been an uprising. People would stand up to that here in America, because we're used to a certain lifestyle. They have to use the tool of apathy to a certain extent. They're using the boiling the frog gradually method. You turn up the heat too fast and the frog's going to jump out. So they're somewhat confined to this idea of consent, because it's a powerful tool for them. By letting people vote and change things gradually and work subversively behind the scenes, they can do a lot of damage and maintain a lot of power, but still have enough consent of the people to not get killed, basically. Now, we may be seeing that change a little bit, but I believe that, getting back to my original topic here with the internet, that we're going to see a lot of progress in the private sector that outpaces the government so ridiculously that they're just impotent to change it. And we're already seeing that, but I think that's going to be the continuing trend, that the private sector is going to advance much, much faster than the government can keep up and maintain their guise of consent. Okay, so I think it's important to stay on the topics of technology and where that's leading us and how that can relate to our freedom. Radical life extension is another hot topic for me. Aubrey de Grey and such. If you're not familiar with him, I will be getting experts on the show, and so you can learn about it here. Otherwise, go ahead and do your Googling and look him up. It's some interesting concepts on extending human lifespan into many, 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 many healthy years beyond what we have now. And in the same realm of topic of that, I will be discussing fitness. Now, that seems like an odd thing to put into the rest of these topics, perhaps. You don't see it too much in the voluntarist movement that we talk about fitness. However, I've been a health and wellness fitness coach, whatever you want to call me, for the past 10 years. I own a training gym where we teach strength and conditioning to everyone from 5-year-olds to 80-year-olds. And I'm going to be sharing some of that knowledge with you because I have a deep history of knowledge with that. A lot of experience, thousands and thousands of hours coaching and training people. So I might as well put that to some good use. And honestly, again, freedom is about putting action into your life. Having the ability to do the things you want to do is the essence of freedom, right? And if you cannot physically do the things you want to do because you're a 70-year-old decrepit, wheelchair-bound person, freedom starts to diminish a bit, right? I want you to experience freedom in every possible way you can. So we are going to discuss fitness tips and that sort of thing. I'm not going to overdo it because I can only fit so much in an hour, but I will be touching on those topics sporadically. So with everything that I just discussed, basically the format of our show, you're going to be able to view it in an hour-long session if you like, but it is going to be broke up into short segments. And if you'd like to catch those segments separately and just see a small snippet or the one interview or portion of the show that you're interested in, you'll be able to catch that on my channel, Live All Your Life, liveallyourlife.com. For the whole 1 hour show, that's going to be right here on the Voluntary Virtues Network. I think that pretty much covers my intro that I wanted to do today. Now, I realize that I'm slotted for an hour. This is just a little soft launch video to introduce myself, and of course I'll get more in depth as we go. But next week we should be launching our first episode of the actual format that we're going to be going forward with. So before I get to closing remarks here, I just want to say a special thanks to Mike Shanklin. I think what he's doing here is awesome with the Voluntary Virtues Network. To say that it's just awesome is just an understatement, because here's the thing. I've been working on Live All Your Life for about 3 or 4 years now. Working on is sort of a loose term, because working on means a lot of sitting around thinking about it. And honestly, that's obvious, that's not good enough. I've been talking about action here for the last several minutes, and you got to walk the walk. And the thing about Live All Your Life is I'm starting from scratch. And there are many, many hosts of this Voluntary Virtues Network who have been starting from scratch. And when you're one small voice, it's a little hard to get attention sometimes, even if you have something great to say. Voluntary Virtues Network is going to create a platform where we will all be casting a wide net and bringing people in to the network, who can then find individual hosts on that network that they can relate to or that they find value in. This is a big deal. This is a really big deal. This is an instance where the sum is equal or is greater than the end result is greater than the sum of its parts. You know what I'm trying to say. Anyway, we're going to get exponential benefit out of this, because we're going to draw more people to the network, but it's also going to amplify the voice of each individual person on the network. So I'm really excited, very grateful to you, Mike. I really appreciate you putting this together. I'm really excited to see where this is going to go. I know I have ideas for this show. I've lined out the format here roughly, but I'm maybe underselling it a little bit. This is going to be awesome, all right? Just stay tuned. But without Mike, probably wouldn't have had the inspiration to do this format and present it in this way. So lots of just kudos to you, and to a lot of my to my friends on the roundtable discussions on Tuesdays. Kyron and Robert, you guys have both been pretty inspiring for me and given me some great ideas on where to take this. So the best is yet to come for sure. Make sure that you stay tuned right after my show here. Next up, we have Anthony Antonello's show. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right, Anthony. I will definitely catch your show, get to know you a little bit more so I can help you promote, since you're right up after me in future episodes. Following Anthony's show is the Voluntary Virtues Roundtable discussion, which I've been a panelist on most of the time for the past year or so. Tonight's special guest is the ever invigorating Chris Cantwell, and so I hope you'll join us for that later this evening. That is at, let's see, trying to remember, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. After that, Voluntary Virtues After Hours with the Krug, and I will likely be hanging out for that too. So you can catch me here in a couple hours, but please be sure to join me next Tuesday at 3 p.m. Pacific Time, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time every Tuesday, and you can definitely find more of my content at liveallyourlife.com. My parting thoughts today was all about action and how I want to develop our philosophy into action steps. So I want to leave you with this. The important thing is to concentrate upon what you can do, by yourself upon your own initiative. Harry Brown. I'll see you next time. The best is yet to come. It's an exciting time to be alive. Instead of just existing, you can truly live all your life. Join our open discussions on business and personal growth, agorism and finances, lifestyle enjoyment, radical health and life extension, science and technology, art and philosophy, all of the aspects to learn how to truly live all your life. LiveAllYourLife.com.